Entity number 002, nicknamed Chirp. The current description is as follows. Before the investigation, there were local stories about how the specific sounds in the region would echo back with the sound of a red cardinal. It was hypothesized that this effect was similar to what was observed at the Mayan temple of Kukulkan. Local legends claimed that the chirp was from a bird that was lost during the collapse of a mine. To determine more about the unique effect, a team was released. It will be noted that the team was geared towards an archaeological study and mine diving. When the redacted team landed on site, there was a recorded chirp after the clap, which the audio picked up. The continued expedition led to a mine entrance that was previously sealed. Upon entering the cave, the redacted group determined the mine to be part of a system of caves. Roughly a mile into the mine, the team stumbled upon E002. The entity was a centipede-like being that had distinguishable head structures and seemingly contained crab elements. With a frame-by-frame analysis, the entity had 17 sets of legs, each ending with sharp tips, a head that was similar to a snapping turtle, and 2 large sickles that were used as primary arms. The team's video feed was being recorded in a separate location. During the quick skirmish, the team was redacted and killed. This file is subject to further edits. People have written about dragons. A dog barks, seemingly at thin air. There are reports of something in the woods. In this world, even before humankind, there have been oddities. Things that never made much sense. Sometimes they're superhuman. Other times they're monsters. We can see them in books or on the screen. Sometimes, though, we can see them in our dreams. There is a kernel of truth in every lie. There are upon thousands and thousands of stories out there. There are also thousands upon thousands of beings out there that can't be explained. Even with every piece of technology we have, there is something unexplainable. The redacted organization seeks to find those entities that are different. Whether it is to kill, capture, or contain, there is only one objective. Our only objective. The following section is part of a log submitted by Redacted. Alright ladies, listen up. Jel stands up and addresses the other 3 ladies. You know the drill. Complete the objective with the least amount of casualties possible. It was clearly evident that most of the team was acquainted with the procedure. Emily, on the other hand, was clearly anxious, her one knee bobbing up and down on the floor. Emily, it's clear that this is your first site mission. You're going to be following Agent Ghost until you get a better handle of the situation. Both Sludge and I are off to go grab the file and equipment. As Sludge and Gel leave, Emily turns towards Ghost, a question clear on her mind. What's with these names? Did I miss something? Ghost shrugs. It isn't the most inventive of things, but squad leaders often give a nickname to the newbie based on the noob's first mission. It's also a good way to ensure that your official name doesn't end up on a file in the system. Okay, Emily says, her forehead creased with thought. Can't I just make one up on the spot then? I mean, for the most part, it doesn't seem like this is the most significant event. It's tradition, Ghost says quietly. People like it for a reason. The 2 ladies stood in silence until Gel and Sludge returned, with the gears and files in hand. Alright, Sludge says, a wicked smile on her lips. Let's go kick this entity's behind. Honestly, Emily was starting to hate the bright lights and the loud winds of the helicopter. As the helicopter's blades were spinning, Emily decided that she was looking forward to getting away from the stupid contraption. After setting their feet on the ground, Gel and company traveled the beaten path. Interestingly, even this late, the path was filled with other hikers, all dressed up in similar trekking gears like the ladies. But unbeknownst to these walkers, the things in their bags could easily vaporize part of the mountains in seconds. The path traveled on was very quiet. Interestingly, the sounds of birds were silent. Sludge and her crew continued towards the towering trees as both Emily and Ghost clapped, each clap verifying the odd chirping quality produced in these mountain ranges. The soft green needles muffled the sounds of the boots traveling in the direction of the sunken cave system. As the women reached the entrance, Gel nodded to Ghost and Sludge. As Emily set up a temporary camp, Sludge whipped out a set of bombs, each ticking on the edges of the cave entrance, seemingly asking to be blown. Ghost stood next to Gel, both ladies peering over a map of the inner mine. Sludge, Emily says, "Can I ask what the charges are for?" Sludge's no-nonsensical look remained perfectly so. It's in this case, the entity needs to be sealed up there for good. When Emily started to speak, it may come down to us being sealed up there as well. Gel whispers something from ahead. "Ladies, go grab your guns and gears. Let's go spend some quality time with the thing that crawls in this cave." The damp cave system had its own sounds, each drip-drop splash hanging in the dark void. The dark spires of stone that rose from the floor and jutted down from the ceiling were like teeth, waiting to clamp down on the squad. The only break from the natural cave sounds was the incessant beeps that came from Ghost's watch, a device that could pick up movement. All those ominous sounds didn't seem to bother either Gel or Sludge. "Lady, just because I worked with you doesn't mean that I don't trust you implicitly. But I remember from your other files that you have the oddest of bombs." "Ah, sorry about that. Family secret. Can't really say much else." "Can you at least tell me what the trigger is?" Gel pretends to sigh with a crooked smile. Keeping her eyes forward, without a change of expression, Sludge says, "The system connects to my heartbeat. If there isn't a beat, well, boom." Emily was so startled that she inadvertently stopped. That sounds like a terrible idea. Her jaw dropped in shock. Ghost shrugs. "It's not like we have much of a choice. It is our only objective." When it was roughly 3 in the afternoon, if her watch was right, when they encountered E002. Just like what had happened with the research team, as they entered the forked road, the entity fell from the ceiling, almost reminiscent of a video game boss for Emily. In the light of their helmets and flashlights, the creature was huge, easily several yards long. Furthermore, the entity had armor plates along its body. Both groups stared at each other for a few brief seconds. Then, bam. The creature launched itself forward, 2 scythe-like arms whirling through the air. Both Gel and Ghost engage, their blasts lighting up the cave area they were in. Moving quietly, Sludge grabs Emily and immediately skirts to the edge of the area. Place these bombs at the edges around the cave. As Emily does so, a cry goes up. As Emily turns around, she sees a scythe buried in the chest of Ghost, the sharpened tip jutting out through her backside. 2 quick shots in succession from Gel causes the entity to run from the bleeding Ghost. blood-soaked air seems to thicken as Emily grabs Ghost and moves her out of the way. Sludge now enters the fray, both blasters leaving burn marks across the entity. "Come on," Emily said. You can't die here." Ghost coughs up blood, her face quickly paling. "Was kind of expecting this. We weren't prepared for this." "No," Emily said. I'll stop it even." Stupid girl," Ghost whispered. "Come back when you're ready. Just save the crew." But the objective, with her last breath, it's not a failed objective if you contain it here. As her eyes cloud up, Ghost seemingly smiles. 2 detonations in quick succession hide the sounds of Emily's sobs. In what could be considered a lucky maneuver, Gel shatters the stalagmite and pins the entity with the weight of the stone. It chirps, clearly struggling to escape the fallen debris. Sprinting, Gel grabs Emily and tugs her along, with Sludge falling right beside her. They didn't stop until they cleared a cave. Even without waiting for any orders, Sludge detonates the bomb covering the outside entrance. And not a moment too soon. As the debris was falling, Emily could swear she saw the beady eyes of the entity, chirping as it retreated back into the darkness of the cave. In the helicopter ride back home, the crew, now -1, remained silent. As Emily now laid her head on the glass, she feels a nudge on her shoulders. It was Sludge holding a piece of paper. On it, Agent Emily, aka Agent Howell. Mission complete. Contained E002. As Emily laid her head on the glass, she knew. She would come back. Oh, she would come back and complete the mission and avenge her crewmate.